The NBPA, the Players Association, they wanted to stand up for social justice and gave the players an option of a slogan to wear on their jerseys this year to finish out the season. And so the players had a list to choose from, and they were able to choose one and then put it on a jersey. So on opening night, the 31st, we'll be wearing these jerseys, the orange ones. The players, the staff, nobody's seen these yet. I just pulled them out of the box. They'll see them hanging in the lockers for the first time. They'll be pretty excited.
I think a lot of the messages on the back of the jersey are really special, really important, and there's a couple of them that I was thinking about going with, but ultimately I went with equality because that's really what we want, and it's really such a baseline and simple thing to ask for, and that's what we're trying to achieve right now.
My mother taught me when I was growing up, don't judge people on the color of their skin. You know, you really judge the people how they acting to you, and I think like whole people in our worlds need to just step up, you know, and do their own little part to stop this thing.
Oh yeah, respect us. Everybody should know what that means. On and off the court, we ain't playing. Definitely off the court, you guys know what's going on around the world. And, you know, just respecting each other, not just black folks, but everybody, every racial. You know, we do it in all these other businesses and communities where we work with different people of different race. And let's just do it worldwide and be genuine with it. And, you know, just as a team doing it together and having unity is a big thing.
Congressman Lewis is someone that has inspired everyone, not just African Americans. And he wrote a letter to the world knowing that he was going on to be with the Lord, and we shared some of the quotes with our guys today.
Walk with the wind, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and power of everlasting love be your guide. You look at our history and look at how dark it is. If you don't look at it through the lens of love, you could act out of emotion. We have done that, you know, in our basketball lives. We do things out of emotion that after the fact we regret. And John Lewis was a standard of this particular principle.
When you look at his life, not just his career in Congress, he's a giant of a man and someone that I thought it was important to highlight before we practice today.
Hey guys, welcome to another Phoenix Suns broadcast.
Well, once we found out we were doing the games in Orlando and we realized we didn't have access to the arena because of the renovation, or ASU for our studio, we had to develop our own studio. We turned the historic building that's next to the arena into a studio. And I basically call that our Frankenstein operation because it really is very quirky and odd.
Oh, brother!
And in this building we set up kind of a small makeshift studio for the pre and halftime postgame show with Tom Leander and Tom Chambers.
TC finally found a fan. Get it?
We put together a small room and turned it into an announce booth for Kevin Ray and Eddie Johnson.
So as we take a look at our starting lineups for tonight's matchup.
And we also have an area for our radio. Al McCoy and Tim Kempton calling the game on.
Cam Johnson for three. Shazam! Well, Cam Johnson knocking down another trio.
The Suns have done a great job in setting K-Ray and I up in our little private room with our TV, big screen. We sitting there like we at home. You know, all I need is some nachos now.
Book finds Cam Johnson, sets up corner three and loads it up.
Yes, we can see the game, as EJ said, you know, just like the viewers at home on the screen. But when we're doing a game, there's so many other things that as broadcasters you're observing. You know, you're able to look down on the bench see what's being communicated during the timeout. Just so many of the little things that you, in many ways, take for granted until it's not there in front of you.
Finding a place for the TV truck was very challenging. With this kind of heat and humidity, the air conditioning units on the TV truck would have a tough time keeping the truck cool. We found a little tiny nook right on the inside entrance of the south side of the arena so it could be in the shade, but unfortunately it was a 90-degree turn and that was a 53-foot semi, and I have to give props to the TV truck driver. He backed that in. It took him a little over an hour to go about 40 feet. Another challenge we had was because of the virus, we couldn't have our full crew in the TV truck. It's just too many people in a small area. So we had to rent a mobile mini unit, which parked next to the truck, thus becoming another sub-TV truck. We had to run TV fiber and audio cables in a PVC pipe down Jackson Street, so a whole block down to this building here as our umbilical cord basically to the TV truck.
That's great to have basketball back, and hopefully we get you back at some point too. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Kelly. Thank you guys. All right, time and tell. Involved the pontoon music, open the headset.
The day starts probably 7 hours or so before tip time. There's a lot of checking and checking again and just really making doubly sure that we're getting all the audio and video feeds that we need to be able to carry out the broadcast.
Do you want to see his call?
Right now we're taking essentially one feed from Orlando that includes camera cuts, replays, pretty much everything except graphics. And then we have one single camera that I'm in contact with on my headset, and that's the only camera I have that I can ask for a particular shot.
Go to 8 and 22. There you go. Let's push in on 22.
Let's do Carl's Jr. star, Cam Johnson, okay?
Cam Johnson, first career double-double, 19 and 12, our Carl Jr. star.
One of my most important roles is to communicate with the announcers, to tell them what they're going to see next.
Michael, do you see anything? I think that's off Cam Johnson.
Show A after they're clear there.
No, they called Sun's ball, right? They called Sun's ball.
Oh, he did. See, I didn't see that.
I work very closely with Bob Adlock, the director, and so during the game, I'll determine when we're going to take a commercial break, when we're coming back.
It's just me on that front bench with our technical director. He's the one that sits in front of the switcher, and it has all the video inputs for the entire show, every camera source. He spoke about this idea he had to build a special air filtration system and put it in the truck while we were working.
An idea I had come up with was to be able to do sterilization of the air using UVC light.
Lynn's one of the smartest people I've ever met. I've joked with him for years that he's been wasting his time in TV. He should be curing cancer or world hunger or something like that because he's that smart.
So at 3 different points, the air is drawn in to the UV bath and it comes down this duct. And after it's all done, I have end caps built into the mounting so the UV doesn't escape anywhere in the truck. But it's eventually drawn down this makeshift duct into a HEPA filter. And this both draws the air and further filters what comes through.
Every hour, it completely refilters the air within the truck, which is important in these times.
They're going for the win.
Quick inbound. Tim Hardaway Jr. going for the win. Will not get it.
Yeah, Suns win. 32.
Suns in one of the most unlikely comeback victories of the season will steal this one 117-115. And now stay tuned for Suns Live coverage with your hosts, Tom Leander and Tom Chambers. Phoenix Suns basketball.
Reveal that. Open the headset. Go, Tom.
Suns would build a 9-point lead. They hang on to win it 117-115 over the Dallas Mavericks in the bubble. Let's go to Orlando right now, joined by Cam Johnson.
It was fun, just, battling back. We're down.
Take double box. Yeah, that's it.
If the league does start back up in December, as has been discussed, I'd be very surprised if we're not doing a similar type broadcast.
Most viruses that have affected this world have eventually gone away. And so we're hoping that's what happens. But until then, we're ready to do whatever we need to do.
Tippin Kaminsky.
Closing billboards.
Closing copy.
Thanks so much for being with us, and so long.